Welcome back to Simrai Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in this class, I will be showing you how to appropriately pad your bustier. Okay, how to sew and pad your bustier. So to sew and pad your bustier, you need your basic bodice block to draft the bustier. You need your wadding or feasible fleece. So this is called a wadding or feasible fleece. So if you go to the in some countries it's called feasible fleece, and here you can see we have the shiny part of it and the rough part of it. So we'll also be making use of our hairstay. So you can see how they look like. So by the time we start padding, you see what I mean or what I'm talking about. So these are the fabric, and then you need your main fabric for the dress. It can be an ankara, it can be anything. So the purpose of this tutorial is just to show you how to appropriately pad your bustier. So now it depends on what you want to create. So whatever you want to create, you have to start from your basic bodice pattern to create it. So if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I'll be linking it on the description box below, how to draft this basic bodice pattern, or watch this video to the end. You also see it at the end screen. You can click on it and watch. So now to start off this drafting, we have both our back and our front basic bodice pattern right here, but then we are going to make use of the front piece, okay, to demonstrate to you or to mark out the bustier, draft out the bustier before. So we are working only on the front pattern. So this is my front pattern, and for the basic bodice pattern, if you want to alterate your bustier, all you need to do is to go up. I'm going to make little alterations now to this basic bodice pattern. So this is my bust point. I will extend my dart to the bust point. That is the first thing you do to your basic bodice pattern. So like I said, go back, watch how to draft this basic bodice pattern so you can follow up, or however you know how. So here my basic bodice pattern, that is 1 inch. I'm going to increase it to half an inch. That is from the center line I'll take 0.75, and from here I'll take 0.75. so this is because we are making a bustier and we need this bustier to be appropriately tightened. So you can see I increase my dart. So this is the only alteration we want to make. Then the bust dart, you have to take the bust dart to the point, to this nipple point. Can you see? You take it to the nipple point. This line already is to the nipple point. So now we'll start alterating immediately. So the first thing I'm going to do is to find the midline of my shoulder line this way, and I'll connect it back to the bust point. So once I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the difference between my bust points to the under bust. I have 3.5 for me, so I'll keep rotating that 3.5. So this 3.5 you see me rotating here, okay, it shows the area at which your bust is going to sit. So as you are marking it all around, if you wear this dress, your bust will just stop, your bust round your bust will just stop at this point I'm marking out. So I love to make this so much for appropriate padding. So you will see how we are going to use these dotted lines now to pad our dress. So it depends on what you want to make. If you are making a dress that has a yoke, this is how to go about it. So first, on this line, I'll measure this, my difference, bust point difference. I'll measure it up this way, this 3.5. I'll mark it up this way, okay. Then from there I'll come up, from that line I'll come up by 1 inch. So if I come up by 1 inch, I want to create my bustier with a yoke. unless you want to expose your bust. Okay, if you want to expose your bust, simply place it at that 3.5, and you can go up, you can go deep. It depends on how you want. You can go up, you can go deep. What I mean by that is you can go to the nape of your neck, on your neckline. Just take where you want your neckline to stop. Let me say I want it to stop at 5 inches. So if I want it to stop at 5 inches, I'll just go ahead and place my tape in that 1 inch and place. If you want to expose your bust, you can do this, but I love to come up by 1 inch and connect. You can see how I connect it. Then I flip my ruler this way. Some people ask, why don't you replace your overbust dart? The reason is because of what I'm doing here. So if I have to place this my neckline, if I have to continue it to run into the armhole, there won't be need, because it's running right here. There's nothing to replace. It will be taken care. Okay, this will be taken care by the side seam allowances, so you don't need to replace anything there. So just keep following this, turn on your notification bell, keep following us. You will see when to replace and when not to replace your dart. All right, so now from this line that meets this my neckline, I'll come in by 0.75 is standard, and from here 0.75 or 3/4 is standard for all sizes. So this way I'll place it, and I'll flip my pattern ruler this way to that way. Can you see? So these darts we have here will go off, and it's the part that will contour the bustier appropriately. Now comes our underbust tightening. We also have a detailed video on how to tighten your underbust appropriately, but I'll also demonstrate it again in this class, because we are drafting, we want to pad our dress appropriately. So from the center front, I'll take my underbust measurement, divide by 4. I have 8.75 and I have 1.25 remaining. So I will impute 0.25, which is 1/4, and the remaining 1 inch I'll put it there. So you can go to the video of underbust tightening to understand what we did here. So this is how I place my pattern ruler to touch the bust point and the underbust. I'll flip it this way to touch this line and this line as well. So once I've done that, I'll connect this to the dart leg, which I increased, and connect it back this way. So that is how to go about it, and we are done with this dress. So your neckline, you can alterate it to your choice. So I call this my yoke. That is if you are making a yoke, and if you are making just a tube dress, you will just cut it out from here. So I'll just cut now. Okay, so I'm not cutting my yoke parts. I'm going to keep my yoke parts because I'm not using it for this demonstration. I'm only using my... Okay, so there's something you are supposed to do. Replacement of your dart before you cut, very important. So now from the center front, I have my waist at 9 inches. That's my waist is 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches, and my dart is 1.5. So I'll just come here and mark the 1.5. So this 1.5 I've marked now is supposed to be from here to here. Can you see? You have to replace it, please. Very important. So I'll now cut from here instead of from where I was cutting before. So later I'll use my seal tape to do that. So if you are making a yoke, simply go here. Maybe you are making a turtle neckline, you do this. Okay, but if you want to alterate or make your neckline wider, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll just come here this way. Alright, so this becomes your yoke. So I'll set it aside and I'll come over here. What I'm cutting off is the dart. So this dart I'm cutting, you can see how I'm cutting it off. So we don't need this dart. I take it away. And I'll close my bust dart. So I'll close my bust dart. And I'm going to apply my adhesive to it once again. So once you apply your adhesive, it helps you to close your bust dart. You can see how my bust dart is. I close it up. Can you see? So this is what we are going to use to pack this dress. So if you need to attach a yoke to it, this is it. Okay, so you first match this and this to be sure they are equal. So if it's not all that equal, you can just go ahead and blend it up a little just to make it equal. The difference is not much. I'll just go ahead and do this because the difference is not much. So this is it, and this is your yoke. So now we are going to pad this. So I'll be using this to show you how to pad your dress appropriately. So to pad your dress appropriately, you can see these dotted lines. I told you when you make them, that is your padding for you. So to pad this dress appropriately, I'll be using these two patterns to show you how to appropriately pad. And you have your pad. Your padding sits right on the bust and gives you that appropriate shape you want. So now from the nip of this pattern, you come down by 1/2 inch. So once you come down by 1/2 inch, connect it to your, you can see what I'm doing. So I will do this to this point. Can you see? I call this part up and I call this down, and I call this, I put an arrow here and call it my bust point. Put another arrow here and call it my bust point for the center front. From here, I'll also come down by 1/2 inch. So if I come down by 1/2 inch, I'll just follow the 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Can you see? So everything here from this line will give me 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch to this point. And this line is untouched. So I'll cut out what I have here. So this is my up, this is my bust point, and this is my down. So once we are done marking out the lines, okay, so these are the lines we are going to pad. So once we are done marking it out, before we cut out, you can see, cut it out, you can see I've already cut my fabric for the padding. Okay, so like we are demonstrating how to pad appropriately. So our padding, we are going to have it done on the main fabric. Your lining, there won't be any part for it, so that is why I have to cut the main fabric for it. So I added 0.5 inch all around, and this part I placed it on fold. As you can see, my seam allowance is 2 inches, so please always add 2 inches to your seam allowance. Okay, if you are using this method of contouring your under bust. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place a notch at the bust point, place a notch at the under bust. I will do the same at the bust point and at the under bust for the two of them, because we are going to match them up. So once that is done, I'll take off the pattern. So I've taken off the pattern right now. So this is what we have at the end of, you can see I also hairstay, so make sure you hairstay. And we have our notches at the under bust, bust point and under bust. I also have the same. Okay, I have my hairstay and I have my notches. So once you are done with your notches, you can set your pattern aside. Then we'll go into the main business of the day, which is the padding. So I'll just cut off the padding, as you can see, and take off this. So you can also trace this out. If you are still making use of this pattern, you can just place this on top of maybe another paper. Use your tracing wheel to cut it, but because I'm using this for tutorial, that's why you see me cutting off that area we mark. So I'll set this aside. So this is what you have now for your padding. So this is what we are going to pad, and you are going to see how beautifully well this padding is going to come out at the end of the day. So I'll be cutting what I have here on my wadding right now. So I will get my wadding. This is my wadding. That is what we are going to use for our padding. So I'm going to place my wadding this way. Okay. So I'm going to place it this way. So you can see I placed on fold, the part on fold. I also placed it on fold. Can you see that? So I placed it on fold and secure with my pin like this. Okay. So now I'm going to cut this, and I'll show you how to do that. How to cut this appropriately, where to add seam allowance and where not to add seam allowance. So the only place you add seam allowance is on this bust point area that we are going to use to join. So I just add 0.5. And you see that that's the only part you are adding seam allowance. As for this, there's no seam allowance. You can see me cutting it off. And for this, the neckline, there's no seam allowance. That is the bust radius where the bust is going to sit. So this is what you're expected to do, to have. So once you have done that, please always notch your bust point, because we are going to match this bust point to the main fabric. Then I come with this, and I'm going to lay this way, place it in between. So I'm just trying to economize what I have here. So once you place it there, you secure with your pin. Okay, so you can see how I'm placing it. I'm also placing it in a way that where I secure with my pin, I gave allowance for seam allowance for the bust point area where you have your notch. So that is where we are going to add, because that's the part we are going to join together. So just follow these video instructions and you get it right. So I added 0.5 only on the part that we have the bust point. Then for this, I'll just go ahead and cut by the side this way. So this is the best method to pad, okay, without much calculation going around you on different sizes. So anybody, you've already taken the bust radius, you cut it out this way and it makes more sense. So now I'll just notch. Can you see on the bust point I've notched this part? Please don't make it too pointy. This is what I usually do for this part before I go into, so it matches up with what I have right there. So now I'll take off this pattern. So once you take off this pattern, this is another thing you are going to do after you have notched. Remember, this part was marked up, so I'll raise it up on the woolly side, not the shiny part. Please, this is done on the woolly part. Make a mark, because by the time we lay this sticky part on the fabric, you will not see the mark. So but if we do it this way, if we lay it shiny part to shiny part, you will be able to see the mark, so you know where to place it. So I'll be demonstrating this now for you to understand. So I'll take off my pattern, and this is what we have. So for this, we already know that this sweetheart area is the upper part. So I'll just bring back my fabric now. The shiny part of the feasible fleece or wadding, remember we made our notch, so you match it notch to notch. Can you see? If you match notch to notch, turn it to the right side and do what? And pin. So if you pin it when ironing right now, this pin will be easy for us to take away. So that's why you pin on the right side. Please don't pin on this side, okay? So I'm done pinning it. So this is how it should be. I pinned on the right side, as you can see, and I pinned notch to notch. So make sure your notch is to notch, and the underbust rest on the underbust line as well. Okay, so that's how to go about it. So I will set this aside and I'll come over to this. So at this one, this is it. You place it this way. This is the mark I told you. This is the shiny part. This is the upper part. You pin notch to notch. This, the shiny part has to lay on this notch to notch. So this is it. You can see that. So I'll just secure it with my pin. I'll secure here and here. Do the same for this. Alright people, so now you can see I've pinned them at strategic position, making sure the upper part is at the up and the notch is at the notch for this and this. So it's time to for us to start ironing right now. So I will use one to demonstrate to you. So your ironing process, I'll just put a piece of fabric under so I'll be able to iron. So my ironing process now, this is what I do. You can decide to use your hairstay, okay, to cover the whole of it. That is if you want to have a neat and unstressful job. You can also decide to do what, cover half of it this way to the underbust line. All of them works perfectly, okay, but I like to cover the whole of it, okay. So I'll have the weights distributed equally. So I'll just cover the whole of it this way, and then I will iron. So you can see how I'm doing that. So this is how you are going to iron it. You can see that. So as you are ironing, you make sure you have this wadding relax firmly on it this way. So once that is done, I'll take off and trim off what I have on the excess. So I'll just go ahead and trim. So this is what we have after padding. So you can see how beautiful it's actually looking. So now so once you have taken off your pin, okay, you are going to match your underbust only. You are going to match your underbust only. So this is the underbust line. So you can see we have our underbust together with the notch, okay. So once you are done with that, you start to match what you have right here, okay. I'll just pick some of these pins. So we'll go to the machine. So that's how you will do that. That's the how. Once you match your underbust, we start sewing at 0.5, and this one we'll keep navigating it till we get the curve we need. So let's do that now. So once you have matched it up this way, the next thing you will do is to drop your presser foot. Drop it at exactly 0.5. So this is my 0.5 line. So I'll back stitch. So you can see I'm sewing from the waistline, okay. Please always sew from the waistline when you are sewing your bustier, okay. So I'll just sew to the point I have my pin at the underbust. I'll raise my presser foot and navigate this way. Can you see? Push this side and start sewing again. So I'll be matching what I have right here now. So make sure you match it appropriately and sew at 0.5 as well. So you can see what I'm doing right here. So I'll keep matching. So make sure you stick your hairstay appropriately. So I'll match and match till I'm done, and I'll back stitch at that point. So you can see what I have right here. So now I'm done sewing my bustier. So you can see what I have right here. I take off my pins everywhere, as you can see, before we continue. So this is what the bustier looks like. Can you see that? So we have the bustier already. So but to make it relax more, you need to make notches. So I'll first of all open up these seams, as you can see. Okay, so the part of the seams I'm opening now is the part of the bustier piece. So I just go ahead and bring in my, so I'm using one to demonstrate to you. So you open up this, that is the first place you need to open. Okay, so once you have opened that part, then you come with your tailor's ham, you insert it and open up. Okay, so after that is done, you take off your tailor's ham, and with your piece of fabric with steam, or if you have a steam iron. Okay, so but I know it's not all of us that have steam iron, so I'll be demonstrating it with a piece of fabric with steam in it, so it makes this part lay flat. So I'll just go ahead and place back my tailor's ham, open up the seams very well, place my piece of fabric on the steam, on the, can you see me? And I'm using my hot iron. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm using my hot iron. So your iron has to be hot, and you follow the shape of the ball. Can you see that? So once that is done, this is what you have. Every seam is open at each point. Can you see? Every seam is open and relaxed. Okay, so I'll turn it over again for the finishing part of it. So this is the finishing part of it, and I'll go ahead and lay my steam and repeat the same process. Okay, so that is that, and then I will lay it. So you can see the cup. We have the cup now. Okay, better than what it is when it was not ironed. So the ironing process is very important. So I'll now lay this on this and keep it straight. You can see how I kept it straight at that point. Okay, there's no tailor's ham here. Can you see? So you can also iron out the sides if you want. Can you see that? So that gives you what you want. So I'll repeat whatever I did there to this part. Okay, all right, so we are done right now. So this is what our bustier looks like. Okay, it's actually looking beautiful, and this is what the inside looks like. Very neat, as you can see right there. Okay, so this is how to go about your bustier padding, and we made this out of what we have right here. Okay, so to me, this is the best method to pad your bustier for all sizes. Okay, so for all sizes, just go ahead and pad with what you have right here. Okay, and it gives us a perfect fit for everybody. Okay, instead of saying 4 inches round, 5 inches, this gives you what you need. Okay, all right people, so thank you very much for coming to this tutorial, and if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day,
Like this video, share to family and friends. Drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you for coming. See you in the next one. Bye.